Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful holiday and ate loads of food and got everything you wanted and just had a lovely, lovely time. I've had a nice Christmas and I hope you have too. It's been a while, I know, but I have read a lot and I've been avoiding doing book reviews because I know they're time consuming and I've had a lot of work and family over, etc. lately. So, I haven't been able to do them. But today, I don't know whether you can see, I have 4 books behind me that I want to review today, and I'm going to attempt to use technology so that if you click each book at some point now, it will take you to the review. I read The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne quite a while back. I started it sort of just at the end of the summer, like as I went back to school, which probably wasn't a great idea because it's quite a, well, I wouldn't say it's heavy going. The introduction is heavy going, but it's a classic, and usually I don't tend to read classics during school time because they can get difficult and etc, etc. But basically, this sort of story follows the protagonist of Hester Prynne, and Hester Prynne has an affair with a minister and is made to wear a red A on all of her clothing for adulteress, or adultery, to signify that, because in the time that it was written, I believe that it was published in 1850, so it was written set a while back when all of the religion was all ripe. And it's all about how she deals with this punishment and sort of the seclusion of her from society. My edition is a Collins Classic edition. It has 295 pages. The writing's quite small. It's not that small, but it's quite small. And it is a classic, so it's quite a challenging read, but this book was incredible. I loved it. As you can see, I have 1,000,001 little plastic tabby things in there because I just found so many amazing pieces of imagery, and most of them are to do with the imagery of the Scarlet Letter, which was portrayed like, I can't even explain how well it was portrayed throughout the whole thing. It symbolises hell and sin and adultery, but at the same time it's this beautiful embroidered thing that's just, and oh, it's amazing. I particularly liked the parts centralising around Hester because her sort of, the way she was dealing with things and all of the descriptions of her daughter Pearl were all like, they described Pearl as an imp, and it was really creepy but really hard-hitting at the same time because you see what Hawthorne is trying to get across, that religion in this day was just ruler over everything and the justice system was completely messed up and everything was just centralised around religion and just sin. And the fiery references to the Scarlet Letter and all of the other things were just spot on. Prior warning, do not read the introduction to this book. Just don't. Yes, it's part of the novel. Yes, it's supposed to be of literary acclaim, but it took me about a week/2 weeks alone to read the introduction. It was so long and so confusing, and it was just so boring. It was so boring. So my advice to you is skip the introduction and get straight to the first chapter, because as soon as you get into the first chapter, it's like, whoa, how is this the same book that I was reading a couple of minutes ago? The lowdown in the introduction, if you don't want to read it and want to know what's in it, lots of description about a building, and then the person or narrative who is writing this, like recounting Hester's story, finds a parcel in this building wrapped around with the fabric and with the Scarlet Letter inside of it, with loads of letters, and essentially that is what triggers his wanting to tell her story. The rest of it is just a big old rant by Hawthorne about how authors aren't given enough acclaim and writing in those days was just not a profession, and just, if you don't want to be bored to tears, don't read it. I had to buy the audiobook to actually get through it. So That's my personal opinion. If you want to read it, go for it. It might add something to the book for you, but honestly, for me, didn't add anything. Hawthorne, not liking the introduction. As I was saying before, I loved the parts that involved Hester. Not so much the minister and the physician. I mean, the physician creeped me out loads because he was just horrible, and the minister, like, I don't know. I just think Hester's narrative viewpoint was written the best out of all three of the main sort of characters. Throughout this entire story, I was just, my heart was breaking for Hester, and I absolutely love her as a character. She's so sort of spunky, I guess. I think that's a good word to explain her. She's very sort of secluded but sassy in her own way. She's very independent woman, and she gets on with her life, and she's not whiny, and she's just amazing. And I think that this is one of the best classics I've ever read, and the ending, oh my goodness, the ending blew me away completely. Just the imagery at the ending and the way that it ended was just well done, Nathaniel Hawthorne. My hat is taken off to you. It was like fireworks in my brain, literally. It was just, oh, it was incredible. But yes, if you want to read a classic, this is a good classic to read. I think I just pointed to it. Yeah, I did. It's not as challenging as some of the classics I've tried to read. It's not as thick as Dickens, and it's really a really good story. So I would highly recommend it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, despite the fact that the introduction was really long and some of the bits were hard to get through. It's a classic, so some bits of it are going to be difficult, but I really enjoyed it. If you would like to go back to the beginning of this video to select another book, click the general vicinity of my personal being, or if you'd like to carry on watching to see me review The Book Thief, then just carry on. I will literally start talking in about 2 seconds. The Book Thief. Marcus Zusak. Where do I even begin with this book? I heard so much hype about this, especially from Raylene from Padfoot and Prongs 07. She just doesn't shut up about it, basically. But it's, oh my god, I understand now why the booktube community was like having a heart attack over this book. Incredible. In case you didn't know, this novel follows the story of Liesl Memminger. I can't say it. It's German last name, but I'm gonna say Memminger. I'm gonna say Memminger. Liesl Memminger. That really doesn't sound right. Anyway, it follows her story, and her brother dies on a train on her way around Germany. I think they're going to Munich, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. But yes, her brother dies, don't worry, it's not a spoiler, it happens right at the beginning of the book. She gets sent to live with a pair of foster parents named Rosa and Hans Huberman. Now, Rosa and Hans are lovely, lovely people. Well, Hans is a lovely, lovely person. Rosa, not so much. She swears in German lots, and she's quite aggressive sometimes, but underneath all of that, she's a lovely, lovely character. This book basically tells her story with words, and the story of them harbouring somebody they shouldn't be harbouring in their basement, and just the general power of language. And can I tell you, I have never read anything like it. The first thing that it says on the blurb is, here is a small fact, you are going to die. That kind of sets the tone for this book. It's one of those books that you read and you're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. You get so connected to the characters and just the situation, and it is so thought-provoking and just, oh my god, written so beautifully. Marcus Zusak, you are a god. This novel is also, interestingly, narrated by Death. This is what made me want to pick up this book, despite the fact that I've had people nagging at me to read it for about half a year now. But yes, it's narrated by Death, and it is a very, very interesting way for it to be narrated, because set in 1940s, because it's set in World War II, that's a very interesting perception to have, because obviously there were lots of deaths, and from the perspective of Death, you'd expect it to be all Grim Reaper hooded and evil, but really, Marcus Zusak achieves something that I didn't think was possible. He gives Death a quite appealing, if not adorable, but really sad personality. That makes any sense at all. And the way that it's written from the Death's perspective just adds so much. It was really nice that Death wasn't personified into like a horrific, evil character, and it was just like a normal guy, and that sounds really odd, but it makes Death something more manageable. So within a book that's probably not directly about death, more directly about words, Marcus Zusak has managed somehow to lessen my own fear of death, because now when I think of dying, I think, hey, a really nice, sad, sympathetic guy is gonna come and reach into me, grab my soul and carry me gently up to heaven. Another thing that was really amazing about this book was the leitmotif of the sky and the colour of the sky and the sort of the pathetic fallacy surrounding the sky, because each time somebody died, the character of Death would look up at the sky so that he didn't have to look at the humans suffering, which I thought at first was kind of cowardice, but then I thought if I had to watch people dying every single day of my life, I wouldn't want to see it either. So he just goes on to sort of describe the colours in the sky and how that it really reflects the mood, and it's just so incredible, I can't even. The characterisation was just spot on. Hans Huberman, if you were my husband, I would be lucky. If you were my stepdad, foster father, I just want to know you. You're so cute and so lovely. Liesel, oh my god, Liesel was just... she's one of those characters where you can see yourself in her a little bit. Rudy Steiner. You made me cry quite a lot. Throughout the novel, words are personified as if you could touch them, and it really emphasises the weight of the words, and like it takes the metaphorical weight of words and makes it physical and joins all of that all together in one object that just completely symbolises what they're trying to say, and it's just, oh my god, I can't even explain to you how amazing it is. The way that Mein Kampf is used to save someone, a book so vile and so not nice and connotated with Hitler, is used to save someone's life, just hit me like a ton of bricks. It was wow. Just wow, especially because of who that person was. The irony! Oh my god, the irony! And the symbolism that a book and words can give you an escape and can save your life. It's just so true. Despite the fact that this book is quite hefty, it's 554 pages, it is so easy to read. It's broken up into different sections. It has like parts, and then inside those parts there's chapters, which are all headed on the first page of that chapter. So you've got the prologue here, and then you've got the headings of the chapters down here. But it's so easy to read and so quick to get through, despite the fact that it looks really daunting. So if you feel yourself going, but it's really thick, just no, stop and pick it up and read it, because it's amazing. That's all I have to say, apart from the fact that I cried for at the very least, the last 5 chapters, and different chapters throughout, because it was just so good and so sad and so amazing, and just read this book. Needless to say, I gave that book 5 stars out of 5. I would have given it more, but Goodreads doesn't have a higher rating. If you would like to watch my review of Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, it's coming up next in about a few seconds. If not, click the general area of my body. That sounds really weird. I will just click on me somewhere and it will take you back to the beginning, so you can select another book if you don't want to watch Dash and Lily. So over this sort of beginning of the Christmas holidays, I read Dash and Lily's Book of Dares by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan. And David Levithan I had heard of, Rachel Cohn I hadn't. But basically, this book was amazing. And it's very Christmassy, so if you want to read it still over the Christmas period, do. It's really quick to get through, it's really short, really amazing, and just very good overall. The story centralises around Dash and Lily. Dash is a guy, Lily is a girl, and it's kind of like a classical girl meets boy, but with a twist. Lily leaves a red moleskine notebook in the Strand bookstore in New York. And Dash finds it, and inside this notebook is a list of challenges where he has to find different various books, etc, etc, and then put his email address down. I think that is the coolest concept ever, and I want to do it, and I'm going to, maybe, possibly, but that might be a little bit dangerous because not all things turn out like they are in novels, to my dismay. But that concept in general just completely grabbed me, and it was amazing, and the whole story is basically they're communicating through this book and they're falling for each other through their words, and oh, it's so cute! So cute. And unlike some of the books that I have read, the young adult books, the romance doesn't go from 0 to 100% in love in like 10 seconds flat. It develops. It actually develops. And that is one thing that I actually have to have in a romance, because I feel like it's completely unrealistic and really irritating if somebody just sees someone and goes, oh, I love you, you're the love of my life, and then just goes and snogs their face off, and then, no, end of story. Oh, they're together now, even though they've known each other for like 10 seconds. No, not the way I like things. But basically, this book has the level of development just right. I now feel compelled to go to the Strand bookstore, put a nice red lovely notebook on there, just so I can find a guy like Dash. Oh my god, he is my kind of guy. I mean, Oxford English Dictionary as the one thing that he would ever want ever. Oh, just. As for the rest of the characterisation, I found it so accurate and easy to read. Like, they felt like normal people, and it wasn't like this out of reach story. I mean, the concept is a little bit out there because it wouldn't happen in real life, but to be honest, that's what made it special, because something that's so innovative and so wonderful had brought these two people together, and it's just so good. Gah! I've actually underlined quite a few things in this book. There's loads of quotes that I really like. I'm trying to find the one that I like the best. Not the best. I'll try and find one. Try and find where I've underlined it. Oh, this, right? I'm just going to read you this section, and it's not a spoiler, it's got no spoilers in it, it's just Dash's sort of analogy of love. And he says, "Before you leave, I told them, I would like to conduct a brief symposium on love. I took out a red marker, I mean, why not, and wrote the word love on the board. Here we have it, I said. Love. For good measure, I drew a heart around it. Not the ventricled kind, the made-up kind. It exists in this pristine state, holding up its ideas, but then along come words. I wrote words over and over again all around the dry erase board, including over the word love. And feelings. I wrote feelings in the same way, crisscrossing it on top of everything I'd already written. And expectations and history and thoughts. Help me out here, Boomer. We wrote each of these 3 words at least 20 times each. The result? Pure illegibility. Not only was love gone, but you couldn't make out anything else either. This, I said, holding up the board, is what we're up against." That was the best analogy of love I've heard to date. Might hear better ones in the future, but it was very, very good. And I actually drew it out, and I'm going to go and get it to show you what it looks like in my head. There we go, this is the analogy of love that Dash uses, and I have actually drawn it out for myself, and I'm going to stick it on my wall because I think it's incredible, and it looks really cool. But yes, so Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, overall amazing. The love was just so sweet, and the concept was amazing. It was very innovative and very word-based. Like, if you love the etymology of words, and I found so many good words in this book. I wrote all of them down, the ones that I didn't understand, and just they were just, it was really incredible, and I would highly recommend it because it's Christmassy, so you can read it now. If you're in New York and it's Christmas, seriously read it and sit in the Strand bookshop whilst you're reading it, because that will just make it more incredible, and I want to do that. But yes, highly recommended, 5 out of 5 stars. If you want to stay and watch the book review of Let It Snow, then carry on, I'll be talking about it in a couple of seconds. If not, then just click anywhere around on me so that you can go back to the beginning and select a different book review that you would like to watch. Got a bit tongue-tied there. So here we have another Christmassy holiday romance kind of book. It is called Let It Snow, and it's written by John Green, Maureen Johnson and Lauren Miracle. I'd never heard of these two people, but definitely heard of John Green, and shame, 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 that's kind of why I picked it up, as well as the fact that I'd seen it on BookTube, and it's really cute because it has a shiny cover and snowflakes, and it's Christmas. So I picked it up. Well, I didn't pick it up. My brother bought it for me for Christmas. Say I picked it up. My brother bought it for me for Christmas and I read it in a day. Yeah. So it was good. It was very good. I like some stories more than others, and we will get to that. But overall, it was really cute, and I loved how all the stories linked. Basically, the whole premise for this book is that it's 3 separate stories written by all 3 of these authors, and all of them are little romance stories, and it's all set in a time where there's this big storm and nobody can get anywhere because all the snow is being really irritating, like snow is, but it's amazing and beautiful and just amazing. But it's stopping everyone from getting everywhere and causing loads and loads of problems as per usual because it just makes the world shut down. And these people run into each other or develop relationships with each other as a result of being stranded together. The first story is about a girl who gets on a train, the train gets stuck, and then she has to find somewhere to stay. This story was really good. I enjoyed this story. This story was written by Maureen Johnson, and it's called Jubilee Express. It was funny, I was laughing out loud, it was really great, and it was nice. It was a really nice concept because it really captured the spirit of Christmas. The second story was also very good. I found the development of the relationship in this story to be the best out of the 3. It was written by John Green, and he is good at doing the development of relationships. Yes, he really, really is. And it was really realistic, and it was lovely because it was one of those friend zone kind of stories. And it was just, oh, it was great. The only thing I didn't get about the second story was the whole concept of cheerleaders. If you haven't read the book, there's a lot to do with cheerleaders in the second story and a Waffle House. If you have read the book, what was with that? Like all the I don't understand why you would ditch everything and go see cheerleaders. Anyway, yeah, so those are the first 2 stories. The one that really kind of got on my nerves and made me give this book a 4 out of 5 instead of a 5 was the final one, because it was really whiny and really, really, oh, I've broken up with someone and I can't get over them, but I was the one in the wrong, so why the hell am I disappointed? It just irritated me. The character, I was like, I mean, I know she's supposed to be an irritating character, but seriously, it was just on the brink of me wanting to get into this book and slap her, like slap out of it. But, yeah, apart from that, by the end, I loved how it all ended up in Starbucks, which is like obviously the centre of the universe. And they sort of all ended up in Starbucks, and just, it was really great. And it was a lovely light read. It didn't take long to read. It's only 354 pages, so it's really not that long, and it's just really quick. You know those books that are just really quick to read? Like, it was like The Fault in Our Stars. I read The Fault in Our Stars really quick, and I read this really quick. It's a great sort of light, holiday, festive, seasonal read. Yes, and it was rather good. It was nice, and I love the cover. I can't get over how pretty the cover is, and it's just so wintry and so lovely, and I wish that something like this would happen to me. But I read too many books. No, I don't. Nobody can read too many books, but a lot of them are unrealistic romance situations, and I kind of have raised my expectations so high for any person that tries to get near me. So, any guys that try and get within like a mile of me. I'm gonna have high expectations, I'm really sorry. Damn you authors! Giving me high expectations for boys.